Welcome back to another episode of All the Mod 7. Today, we're going to tackle setting up our very own blaze farm with the mod Mob Grinding Utilities. Now, you might have noticed that I sound a little bit different. I have caught what seems to be like a cold or like the flu or something. I'm finally getting over it. I'm going to be honest with you. It's taken a little bit of time, but I'm finally getting there. Before we jump into any of this stuff, I would like to say that that has got to stop happening so dang often. Okay, so we're gonna jump right in. So we need to go ahead and make ourselves some chests. Let me start off by messing up. That's what we're gonna do. As you see, all of my stuff has been stacking up. Like, it's actually crazy what's been going on. We have had those bees been running in the background. We've got stacks of iron, gold, diamond, emeralds. We've even got the draconic dust, which is actually really, really good. The reason why I wanted to make these redstone torches, because if I take 4 of these bad boys and stick the chest in the middle, I'm wrong. All right, so I want to make myself one of these sophisticated storage chests because these chests are actually really good. They have the upgrades in them. It's very important to have. So I'm going to make myself one of those that upgrades it here. We can go ahead and upgrade it to gold. We'll get us some stack upgrades going for it as well. So let's go ahead and do a stack upgrade. I'm just doing this because we're going to need the prep for this in the beginning. So 1, 2, they don't stack. That's why. Okay, that makes sense. Diamond. Yeah, we can get all the way up there. Okay, sweet. So we got 2 diamond stack upgrades, and you'll see why here in a minute. We'll need something called a vacuum hopper. So if I can spell this correctly, so vacuum hopper, we're going to want ourselves one of these right here. So we need an Eye of Ender. And we need, it looks like a hopper, which is a chest in the middle. You know, I've never done the like automated crafting kind of thing with this, so I'm just kind of going through like I would normally. I know you can make it where you can set up like certain things, like you can set up, I want this recipe. So if you wanted, like, let's say you wanted a chest to be made, it would know the recipe, so I could just click it and then it would craft it for me. I've never really gotten into that personally. I probably should one of these days. Maybe that'll be a future episode. I don't know how difficult it is, but I feel like it'd probably be good to teach some people that. So let's go ahead and before we jump into going down there and creating it, let's go ahead and do @mob so that way we can see all the things that we need. For the most part, this is actually very easy to set up. We will need something like the mob masher. So I'm going to hit A here and see what all we need here. The mob masher is what kills the mobs. You could actually upgrade this thing too, as it says can be enhanced with mob masher upgrades. And mobs mashed do count as player kills. That's also important too, because certain things, if let's say you have a spawner or whatever going, and certain mobs have to be killed by players to drop certain kinds of loot and stuff, and it's kind of important. I think the experience is what is the most important part of it. So the mob masher here, we'll take that. We need some upgrades too, but we also need 2 mob fans. So I think you could actually do this with 1, but we're gonna make 2 just to be sure. And I'll make 2 of these mob fans here. Now, I want to make some upgrades with these. We want to do a couple of width upgrades. I think just 2 should be fine. Do we just need feathers here? I wonder if I can make a bunch of these. I don't know how many feathers I have. I've not even messed with feathers. So basically, this makes it where I can push everything to the center. I think this makes it a 3x3. We probably will need some more feathers, but I'll mess with that a little bit later on. And this is essentially just to push the mobs where we want to, where the mob masher will be set up to kill everything. So that's important to note too. We want to get ourselves some upgrades as well for this mob masher. Now, if you take a look up here, you can see that it says mob masher upgrade. So we can actually go mob masher, and this will make it where we can see all of the upgrades here. So we have Bane of Arthropods. We're not really going to need this because all I'm doing this right now for is blaze rods. So we don't really need this. Beheading, that would actually be really good, especially for those who are doing Tinker's Construct. Especially if you're setting up a blaze farm, this basically makes it where it will chop their heads off and you'll get blaze heads. That's actually really good. I'm not going to make them right now for it, so that's okay. We have fire aspect, doesn't really do much here. We do want looting, which I believe we have everything except for the blue dye, which we should be able to make. And then upgrade sharpness, so that way it kills it in 1 hit. So this takes some iron swords and some gold nuggets and some redstone. So this one is max of 10 as well. I think we only need 5. I could be wrong, so let me just go ahead and make those. All right, so there we go. There's 5, and the last one is smite. Doesn't really matter too much because I think we'll do well with the sharpness upgrade. So now that we have just about everything that we need, I have already taken the liberty in going over here and clearing out. Is this direction? Is that even? Now I'm tripping because I feel like that's not even. I've cleared myself out an area where I want these to be. I kind of want this to be over here. I've got even more of a space kind of going upward, so that way the mobs won't spawn outside of it. And I've got some extra building utensils here, or mats rather, to build up just in case I miss it. Now, if you look, these things right here, they're called dynamic edge lights. They're really, really cool. If you don't know about this, it's in the mod Simply Lighting, I believe it's called. Simply Light. You can make these illuminate blocks. You can make these like rods and stuff. They're fairly simple to make. You just need some glowstone and some stone. And they're really cool. And the lighting is dope. You can put them up at the top. You can actually put them on at the bottom and align things up. I think they're really dope. I've been using them a lot for like certain videos or whatever. One of the most important factors is that when you make this farm, you have to take a look at how you're going to set this up, because there were some changes, but there is a change to make it where like light affects mobs even more so. So it's really important to pay attention to how you have your lighting set up. Like if I put this mob farm down right here, it won't do anything. The lighting is going to be too bright and it'll turn this mob stuff off, which is okay. This is what I want. That's actually why I have this mega torch here. So nothing spawns within a decent radius, that I can just keep it right here and work through it. So what I'm going to do is I want to say, okay, how wide do I want this and how tall do I want this? So I'm basically going to just do a 7x7. We could probably give it a little bit more room. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, bam. And if that's centered right there, that should be fine. So we're essentially making a 9x9 here, which works for me. You might have to give this a little bit more room, but the more room that you give it, obviously, the more you'll have to worry about your fans and the upgrades and everything that you'll need. But we're going to set this up like this for the time being, just so we can see how it works. I'm actually going to move this back a block and then move that up forward a block, so we have room towards the back, and it gives us a little bit of room to work with for setting up fans and such like that. So let me go ahead and do this. All right, so we have our giant block here. So what is important about this is that I probably should have given this some more width. It's a little bit wider. So we have this a whole lot wider now, which is good. And the reason being is because I'm going to put multiple spawners in here. Now, I don't know what the max efficiency is. I'm going to be honest with you. If you said, hey, Alfred, how do you make this the most efficient ever? I have no clue, because really at this point of the game, you shouldn't really be worried too much about max efficiency. I mean, I'm not going to tell you should or you shouldn't. How you play the game how you want to. But the most efficient way to do this would probably be setting up a different form of mob farm. But this is basically like, hey, I've got a spawner. I want to work with a spawner. How do I want to do this? This just makes it simple. And the spawners actually work really well with other mods too, where you can like farm certain things. It's just basically free stuff. So this is a basic setup that I'm going to do. And we can test this by, I want to kind of place this a little bit higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the center of this, which should be, this is going to bother me because there's 2 blocks that are a center. I don't like that. So let's center it towards the back here. So we'll go right here and we'll build up and we'll put a mob spawner probably right here since they're blazes, and we'll do the same thing over here and we'll put the spawner up there. So right now, because this mega torch is right here, it's not going to actually spawn. I don't know what 2 spawners I have, so I just picked up 2 random ones that I have. I have a bunch of these, but we're going to test and see what we have. We have a skeleton spawner right here. I really need a blaze spawner. Oh, there's a blaze spawner. So these should work as long as this mega torch isn't right here, but I'm actually going to show you something. If you did not know this, you can actually do amazing things to spawners in modded Minecraft. There's a lot of really cool things that you can actually do with it, but if we tap in spawner, the spawner by itself, and we look at it right here, we hit R. Oh, that shouldn't have spawned, but okay. Maybe we should put a torch or something on it. So we're actually going to turn this on and off, but I want you guys to see all the cool things you can do. So if you just hit R on a spawner, it'll show you all of these spawner modifications that you can use. So you have like ignore players, which this one's actually really important. So I'm in A on that one. It puts it up in my top left corner. Ignores light. That one's actually pretty cool too. I'm going to grab that one. We have max entities. They really do not care about my spawn rules here at all. So one of the important things you can make is a redstone compare. I believe it's actually the comparator. Let me go ahead and make 2 of these real quick so we can turn these off. So with the redstone comparator, if I right click these, it turns them off. It makes it where you have to have power to turn these things on, which is pretty cool because we can actually just set up a button, and there's a couple of different ways you can set up. I mean, you could really just set up a lever or whatever, but there's actually a mod that you can use to set it up, which is pretty dope. And I'll show you guys that in a minute. But basically we have this turned off. We want to set this to where they spawn a whole heck of a lot more. I'm going to go ahead and break these 2 now that they're placed. Now we don't have to worry about the light. I can go ahead and break the mega torch as well. But we want to speed these up. So you can speed these up with, like I was showing you a minute ago. If we go back to spawner here, we can see all the different things that we could do. No AI is good too. So if you have like course fruit or whatever, it makes it where, which I actually do believe we have some, I can hit A on that. Makes it where they spawn and they won't do anything, attack anything. So we have sugar. That one's really good. It makes it where when it makes them spawn faster. There's less of a delay. Activation range, that doesn't really matter if you have the thing that turns off whether a player is supposed to be there. See, there's the redstone control. That one's important. Clocks, they're important here too, which is max spawn delay. So conditions, this one's really good. So if you have a dragon egg, you can actually make yourself dragon eggs with a certain mod, but you can make it where it ignores conditions. Let's say that a wither skeleton spawns only in the nether. If you give it this, it should, in theory, make it ignore conditions. The -1 spawn range is actually kind of nice because it makes it where it doesn't spawn outside, like it doesn't spawn in a billion different locations. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go back home, and I'm going to go ahead and grab all the things that I want to do this. So heading back over here into the depths here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and spam click this. So if I hold right click, you see in the top left how it's the maximum spawn delay is going down. That's kind of important here. So as it goes down and down and down and down, that got it all the way down as far as I could here. And let's do the other one real quick. So now we need to hit it with sugar, so that way we can make it go all the way down to 20 for the minimum spawn delay. So spawn count, again, I think that was the fermented spider eyes. That's okay. We're going to go ahead and hit this with a nether star. We have the soul lantern that we want to hit here, and we want to hit here, so that way it ignores the lights that are going to be in here. We want the no AI, so chorus fruit on both of these. Look at all these achievements that we're getting. So how do we set this up? Basically, what I want this to do is I want these guys to spawn, and I'm going to have a fan set up over here, and I want these guys to spawn, and the fan will blow them towards the middle, and I want to put it right in the middle here. So I'm going to just go ahead and break this right here. And this is where our mob masher is going to be. So the mob masher will basically churn everybody that's in here, and then I'll have a hopper to suck up any of the items that get pulled from them and put into a chest, which is important. We can really just set this up a bunch of different ways, but I want to set this up where the chest, and ultimately the chest for the farm, goes out here, which should be easy enough to set up. Let's go ahead and put our stack upgrades in here. So from here, let me go ahead and break out. We're going to have a fan here. Oh, nope. That's probably, but it's better to just place it right in front of you. Okay. That's interesting to note. And there's our two fans. We want to go ahead and give each of these, I believe I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these, our width upgrade, and that should show me where it blows to. Let me see. We're going to have to get a couple more upgrades for this to work because they basically stop right there. I think actually we're just going to go ahead and make a couple of these upgrades just to get it to where it reaches the middle here and starts getting them taken care of. We're probably going to need a fan in the back as well to blow them here. And yeah, let's set that up. So we're going to need one of these distance upgrades. We're going to need a couple more of these height upgrades, and we're going to need a couple more of these width, which it looks like we need some feathers for. Looks like that's all we're missing is some feathers, which we can't make feathers. All right, it looks like we're going to have to go murder a bunch of chickens. So before we go and do that, I'm going to show you guys something pretty cool that you can do. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make ourselves something called a quantum catcher. Now you'll need an arcane crystal block, so you will need some arcane crystals. I already have some arcane crystal from farming out and like doing dungeons and stuff. It's actually really easy to get, but you're also going to need something called a spawner scrap, which spawns are drops from spawners whenever you break them. So if you have a smithing table, which I could swear I had a smithing table, I don't have a smithing table over here. Let me make myself a smithing table real quick, slam it down right here. And if you take and you put these together, you'll get a quantum catcher. Now this works like a mob collection tool, which is really, really cool. And it's really good for getting mobs and snatching them up and bringing them places. So if I wanted to start breeding some chickens and having a bunch of chicken farms, you can make yourself one of these if you get it earlier on. Now, obviously it's a little bit harder to get something like this if you don't have the arcane crystals. But just keep an eye out and see if you can grab one of them. So let's go find us some chickens. Where are all the chickens? Oh, we've got some chickens. It only holds one, right? Okay, let's see if I can do this. I don't have a place for them just yet, so we're gonna just put them out here real quick, okay? Let's just put them in this B room right here, okay? All right, let's go back. Gotcha. Hopefully we can just keep them all in here, right? All right, chickadees, y'all just stay here. Just wait. We're just gonna wait. What is it that y'all like? Y'all like seeds, don't you? I got seeds somewhere. Y'all are avid seed lovers? Okay, sweet. Go ahead and pop out another one. All right, sweet. Give me the chickies. I like how I'm just capturing chickens and then bringing them all in here and just... I'm going to slaughter most of them later just for some feathers, for some easy feathers. All right, I'm just going to kill the rest of the chickens that I find. All right, so we got 16 feathers and we've got a bunch of random chickens. We can kind of let these guys grow up and then maybe breed them a little bit later. I don't think any of them are ready to breed, but we could just let them kind of just chill out here for now. I don't think this is enough to make exactly what I want because I think we're going to need 2 of these real quick. For each of them, let's see if we can make a couple of these. I know for a fact that we want to get the mob distance upgrade and we need 2 of those. So we're going to need 1 more feather. I think this should be fine. Let's go check to see how this works. What we could do here is we could break it like this so that they fall into this middle right here. Do we actually need 1 more fan there or not? We could try this. We could test this and turn this on. I believe this is going to need some sort of power. We can go ahead and put the upgrades in it. Or I think this actually just needs a redstone thing. So let me show y'all how that works. Well, since we're right here, let the chickens breed up for a little bit or whatever. So you can make some really cool things with this mod called gauges and switches, which I believe, if I spell it correctly, this is what it is. So we're going to make a probably, let's see, I think it's a 2-button machine switch is what we want to make here. And it basically goes through a long line of everything up until you make this right here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit this, hit here, and it's very easy to make. You just need some levers. I'm going to need 4, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and make myself 4 of these. And that's why I only made 3 because I need another iron nugget. And what we're going to do is we're going to place these back through like this until we get to what we want. Now there's a lot of really cool ones like the rotary machine lever and all that stuff. It's really cool. But I just want the end of these 2-button machines. And let me show you why. We're going to go ahead and take out some ender pearls too. So I'm going to grab a stack of these and I'm going to put one stack at a time, right? So just one like this. And the reason being is because if I want to turn this on and off, I want to make sure that I set this up properly. Let's go ahead and place the one right here and the other one right beside it. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to stick one right there. I'm going to stick one right here. Now I'm going to take this ender pearl and I'm going to right click this one. And then I'm going to take this ender pearl that it gives me and I'm going to right click this one. So now it is now linked to that. So if I right click this to turn it on, it should turn that on. It's really cool. It's basically a wireless switch that you can use to link these two together and turn these on and off if you want to. I think that one might have gotten messed up. Let me redo that one. So we're gonna have to fix this one real quick. I think it's the order that I did these in that was wrong. Grab these two, place this back down. I'm gonna hit the ender pearl right here. And then I'm going to set it up here. And then now when I right click, it should turn that on, which it did. Sweet. Now that I realize these guys are spawning a little bit further out, we'll have to move the fans and set this up a little bit better. So I'm just going to focus on getting this one right here done. I'm going to go ahead and make myself some more of these levers here, just so I can get the fans set up. So let me go ahead and make just a bunch of levers and then we can set this up. So what we want to do is we want to come around the back side and then we can set the ender pearls up over here. So we want the fan toggle. Let's put the fan toggle. Let's separate it so we have a little space here. And then let's go ahead and get the ender pearls and set these up. So we want this fan right here to go into this one. You got to be careful though. As you see, it turned all of these into ender pearls. You can turn them back just like that if you don't want all of these to link like that. So that's important if you keep these stacks separated. So now I should be able to turn both of these on and the fan should start working. And then let's go ahead and try and turn this on and see how this works in terms of flying over. As we see, it hits this wall, blows them all the way over here. So that's trial and error, baby. All right. After some much needed trial and error, I think once I get this fan to work a little bit better, I'm actually going to move it over here. But I think for right now, this setup kind of works. So basically I have the fan. I don't have any of the vertical upgrades. I forgot that's how I set it up last time. I only have the width upgrade. So that way it only blows whenever it gets to the bottom. But the way this works is as long as it spawns within that means right there, within this little range, we can go and check it right here. If I turn these two are my fans, I right click here to turn on the spawner and I click this to turn it on. As we see, It comes through just like this. They spawn and they get pushed over. The only problem with this here is that I need to set up the walls a little bit better to make it where they don't get blown over here. For now, this actually works. So what we want to do is we actually want to set up our absorption hopper over here. We also want to put in the upgrades that I have, the mob masher and the looting upgrade. So we want to take our absorption hopper here, and we're going to stick this right here on top of this chest. And what I want to do is I want to first show area. Now this will show us a 7x7 of where the area is being pulled. And this should work. And we want to set this down to be items so that way it pushes down. We need a way to push them off of that. Is this one just stuck in the corner? That one works perfectly fine. Okay, I'm getting murdered now. Let's not do that. I wonder if it's because of the walls. Let's break this bottom. Oh, there it goes. Looks like that was the bottleneck. Hello, sir. The absorption hopper must be working because it's pulling it from here. Ah, yes. It does indeed work. So the area is there. This also collects experience here. So this is pulling my experience here, and we could actually set ourselves up like an experience bucket thing right here, and that should work. But we need to tidy this up, and we need to tidy this up kind of now. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to go ahead and fix all this to where it doesn't have these issues. You know what make this look a whole lot better and not near as bad? Glass. Okay, maybe I got a little bit carried away and made everything glass, minus this wood right here. I actually really liked the way the wood looked, or rather the glass looked coming down, and I was like, why do I even have all this stone here? Why don't I just simplify all of this and make it look better? So I said, screw it, and I turned it all to glass, and I actually found something out. You can actually link multiple things to this one thing. So if I come over here, I just recently broke this fan. If I come over here and link this 2-button switch up right here, so if I just shift click, place it here, right click to get the pearl for it, and I right click here, this is actually set up for all 3 of these things, the spawner and the fans. So that way I can turn them all on at the same time, and these guys can just go straight to where I want them to go, and I can turn it on right here. Now I can actually replace this with that switch or this little 2-button switch right here if I want to. But I actually really like the way this is set up. It's very simple. The absorption hopper takes care of it. I want to move this chest over here, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. So I'm going to right click to turn that off. And we need to get an upgrade for both of those. And this should be going into right here. This should be moving down into it. So we could actually set this up a little bit easier. So let me go ahead and move this. So remember, we can move things with a cardboard box. Any kind of chest or anything we want to move, we just slap a cardboard box on it. Pick up the cardboard box, which actually went into this hopper, and we'll put the chest right here. Why not, right? And then shift click, and that should take off this and put it into this. Okay, now it's just cardboard deception. I'm gonna break this, and I'm gonna put this back here. I'm gonna do the same thing. Items are gonna go down here, and then now it should be set up for us to click this, turn this on, and just have this going. And we have this. I need to turn off my. Where's my magnet? Now I want to take it a step further, since I have all of these in here, all of these blaze rods and everything. So what I actually want to do is I want to set this up to where my refined storage system actually knows that this stuff is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a couple of cool things. Let's go ahead and go home, and let's go ahead and make all the things necessary so I can put some of this stuff up. Let me clean up my inventory and we'll make it. All right, now that all of that is completely done and cleaned up, what we're actually going to make is several things. We're going to make an external storage for refined storage first. Let's go ahead and make one of these. I just need some of these cores and everything. So let me go ahead. Excuse me. All right, so now we have an external storage here. And the external storage is actually kind of important because it basically tells us, I think I threw some pipes in here, basically tells us, hey, what is in this chest, and can I access it through my refined storage stuff? So I'm actually going to get a little bit excessive here. And what I'm actually going to end up doing is we're going to make another network transmitter and another network receiver. So let me make those 2 real quick. You'll also need a network card. I already had one made. So we're going to put the transmitter from here. This is, as you see, we have transmitters stacking up here. I'm going to stick the transmitter here. We're going to keep the card here. We're going to take this receiver here, and we're going to go down to where my stuff is over here. You can see that I've actually done this right here. We have an exporter. I meant to show you guys this last time, but basically, this is my exporter. This taps into my RS system here, refined storage, and then it exports my uranium ingots, which puts it into here. which then auto inputs into my reactor here, which keeps it fueled, which is dope. So what I want to do here is I'm just going to place this network right here, this network receiver. I'm going to right click with the network card. Then I'm going to go ahead and just place this external storage right here. So what this does, you won't see it just yet, but once we go up here and we put this network card in, you'll see what I'm talking about. So we take a look in this receiver right here, this transmitter, we slam that transmitter card in there, and now it will actually show us all of those blaze rods that is in that chest. And the bonus part here is that it's actually going to just only show me what's in this chest. It's not a part of my system, and as we see, I'm going to need to make this a little bit longer. But basically, anything that spawns in here isn't actually a part of my system, so there's no corruption to be had. If, let's say, you did this with the skeletons over here and they dropped armor and stuff, that doesn't exist here, because basically this will just say, hey, this is on an external storage. I'm just reading what's in the external storage, and it doesn't take up my types inside of my disks that we see over here. So it's actually not taking up any disk space here. It's not taking up any of that. And it just shows that I have all these blaze rods in here, so I can just use those anytime that I want to make a bunch of blaze powders. So you could do this with a bunch of different things. You could do this with the storage drawers. If I set this up as a drawer system where it pulled everything out of this absorption hopper and put these into drawers, which might be a much better system, I can set that up over here and still stick that external storage on a drawer controller, which might be something that we do later on when we make this a little bit better. But I wanted to get this going to be something super simple, just a basic setup, nothing too crazy. As we see, we are going to have to upgrade that fan with another storage, and I can do that after a little while to get those chickens breeding. But yeah, we have this all set up now. I thought it was worth mentioning now that after, like, I just did my B-roll recording and everything, as we see these frames are going crazy. I completely forgot to mention some other things that you should probably add to this setup. These guys are just kind of vibing in here right now. For one, you should definitely get yourself this jumbo tank. It's actually very easy to make if I just type in jumbo tank here, hit R on it. It holds a bunch of fluid, which is essentially what we're doing with our experiences, buckets of experience here. But if we go and take a look, really just one of these tanks is just glass and iron. And then if we take a look, it's just 4 tanks and then some more iron, you get a jumbo tank. So that holds 1,024 buckets. But on top of that, one of the things you got to be careful of is this right here. Dr. Nathaniel the Wimpy is what you got to be careful of. You got to be careful of this. This specific spawner, as you see, has enchanted armor on it. So if I go over here and I turn this sucker on, it'll end up picking up these enchanted items, and this can fill up your chest really quickly. So let me show you how I actually set this up. Let me go ahead and turn this back on. So ignored, so it should yoink those back out here. Basically, what I did here was I have this right here. This is just a normal item pipe with an advanced pipe upgrade in it, but I have it set to blacklist. So basically, this is a blacklist, meaning these are the items that can't or shouldn't go through here. And what I've done is I've ran this for a little bit so I can see what all items come out of here. And I've taken each of these items and I took it up here and I made sure that this was a blacklist, meaning that it will pull every item except for the ones that I put in here to say, hey, don't pull these, right? So we have bone in here twice, so I can remove that. But yeah, so basically we have a list of things that it won't pull. And then I have it shooting out the left side here and saying, these are whitelists. This is everything that I do want you to pull from here. So this one will say, okay, I'm going to pull everything that isn't one of the items listed in here. I'm going to pull it up into a trash can. So that way it goes straight into the trash can. And then everything that is being whitelisted right here will be pulled out and go into my chest right here. This works as a filter so that I don't have to filter it here inside of this. So like I was saying, if you just turn that back on, we can see anything that's pulled here, anything that comes in here will be filtered out. You see those enchanted things like that. It'll be enchanted and thrown up here. You might be saying, Alfred, why are you deleting? Why are you getting rid of enchanted items? You can disenchant that and get a bunch of enchantments and all that stuff. I don't have any of that set up right now. Now I can set all that up if we go into the mod. I think it's Industrial Foregoing. There is a Enchant Remover, I believe it's what it's called. Let me double check. So Enchantment Sorter, we have Disenchantment Generator, Enchantment Applicator, Enchantment Extractor. So we could get an Enchantment Extractor and we could filter out all of the items that would come through here. Say we'd pipe it up here and say, okay, everything that comes through here, I want all the enchantments taken off of it. But this is a little bit further than I am currently. I don't have Industrial 4 going yet. So it's going to take a little bit. So for now, because I have an infinite supply of enchanted items, I'm just going to keep it on just like this. Now, I did want to say one more thing. You remember how I was talking about that this one might be a little bit too far? If we go into the spawner thing and show exactly what I was saying before, if we go and look into that minus spawn range, all you have to do is hold a blaze rod and then hold in your offhand, you hold a nether quartz, and it will stop or reduce the spawn range. So that way, I don't want this to spawn. It was set to 3, so it would spawn out here occasionally. I didn't want that, so I just went ahead and set one of those up on both of these. So now it just spawns in my little section here. I can turn these suckers on with just 2 levers here. And yeah, I have my setup exactly how I want to. Just wanted to show you guys that. All right, I think this will do it for today's episode of All the Mod 7. We set up a basic blaze spawner. Now you could do this with any spawner that you run into, but I needed to set mine up for blaze. Again, as always, if you guys like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully next episode, I won't be so nasally and so sick sounding. It's draining me. It's okay. I'll be fine later. Look at that little Blaze just chilling in the back, not really worried about nothing. Just you wait, Blaze. Yeah, we have a basic setup of our Blaze farm, which is pretty nice. And I'm actually going to show you guys something completely different next episode. I'm going to show y'all a little bit cleaner of a setup now that we have infinite power using hostile neural networks, which is actually kind of cool. You use like little prediction matrices kind of thing. As always, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you guys next episode. Bye-bye!